Hi, I'm Vlada. I've been living in Italy for 6 years, and somehow this country still manages to surprise me. Sometimes in the funniest, most unexpected ways, and other times in the ways that leave me completely confused. A little bit about me. I was born in Ukraine, my mom is Ukrainian, and over the years I lived in Latvia, Russia, and now in Italy, where I live with my Colombian husband. So you could say I have a bit of a multicultural background, and maybe that's why I love learning about other cultures, their traditions, their everyday habits, and those things that seem completely normal to locals, but totally unexpected to outsiders. And that's also what I love sharing here. And if you're curious about life in Italy from a foreigner's realistic and honest perspective, make sure to follow me. And today I want to talk about the things that seemed completely weird to me when I just moved to Italy. Of course, after 6 years, they might not surprise me anymore, but I'm pretty sure for any foreigner, they would seem very strange still. And in this video, I tried to avoid cliches, like, for example, no cappuccino in the afternoon, which is not even that real, and all the other things that people keep repeating. So let's start with the one that left me completely confused in the middle of the street. By the way, I discovered it not so long time ago. The first time I saw a row of plastic bottles filled with water outside of a store, I thought, okay, maybe someone just forgot them. But then I started to mention them in more places, like some shops, doorways, and even in front of pretty fancy restaurants. So I asked an Italian friend what is it, and he told me that these bottles are supposed to protect this area from dogs being close to it. And it seemed so weird to me that I decided to Google it. And turns out this is a superstition, and people believe that water bottles would scare stray cats from peeing near the buildings. And do they actually work? I have no idea. But if you're Italian, please share. I would like to know. Okay, I hope I'm not alone in my next one. For my first month in Italy, I went to a restaurant with friends and I went to the bathroom, and like any normal person, I pressed the flush button. Nothing happened. I pressed it again. And again, nothing. Then I saw a cord hanging next to the toilet, and I thought that must be this, so I pulled it. Biggest mistake of my life. Suddenly, the loudest alarm I have ever heard starts blaring. The staff started to knock at my door, people at the restaurant turned their heads, and I was just standing there like, whoa, what just happened? Who did this? As you might have guessed, turns out that cord was not the flush. It's an emergency alarm that every Italian restaurant has. Do not ever pull this thing unless you're actually dying. Meanwhile, the actual flush in Italy can be a button, can be a hidden panel, or even a pedal on the floor or a button on the floor. Up until this day, I still am always very careful and always not sure where it's gonna be. So yeah, always check before pulling anything, believe me. Okay, but enough about bathrooms, and let's pass to the next one. Picture this. You are in a dreamy road trip through Italy, cruising into a historic town and admiring the beautiful architecture, until months later a fine lands in your mailbox. Welcome to the ZTL, which stands for Zona Traffico Limitato, limited traffic zones found in almost every Italian city, especially in historic centers. They are marked by signs, often easy to miss, especially if you don't know Italian, and they are heavily monitored by cameras. If you are a non-resident, which you probably are, and you drive without an authorization, the fine will be sent to your rental company, which then will send it to your home country. And if you don't pay this fine in the next 60 days upon arrival, you will have to probably pay some extra penalties. And I've seen so many TikToks of tourists freaking out, receiving these fines months later, long after their trips are over. So before driving into a beautiful piazza, check for ZTL signs, or you are risking turning your vacation into a bureaucratic nightmare. Or you can just use public transportation instead of renting a car. The first time I've discovered the next strange thing, I was in a lecture at my university with other 90, 100 students. The professor was mid-sentence when, out of nowhere, someone let out the loudest nose blow imaginable. And I thought, okay, weird timing, but whatever. But then that happened again, another person did it, and another one, and no one reacted, no side eyes, no weird glance, nothing, just business as usual. In many countries, blowing your nose in public feels borderline inappropriate, but in Italy, it's completely normal. And not just a discreet little blow, I'm talking about full volume, unapologetic nose clearing session. On the train, in a restaurant, go for it. During an important meeting, why not? Honestly, once I got used to it, it felt kinda liberating. No need to hide in the bathroom or feel self-conscious. Just grab a tissue and go for it. Loud and proud. If you've ever dined in Italy, you might have noticed a small extra charge on your bill that is called coperto. Many foreigners get confused by this, because it's not a tip, neither a tax, so what exactly is it? Coperto is a cover charge usually ranging from 1 to 3 euro per person, although in touristy places it can go up to 5 or even more. It's essentially a small fee for sitting at the table, covering things like bread and table service. Unlike hidden fees in some countries, Italian restaurants are usually pretty transparent about coperto. You can find it usually in the end of the menu or sometimes even in the entrance of the restaurant, so check before ordering if you're worried about surprises. One thing I personally love about Italy, no tipping stress. Unlike the US, where you have to calculate percentages and worry about under tipping, in Italy tips are not expected. If you really love the service, you can leave a small tip, usually rounding up the bill or leave an extra couple of euros, but it's never obligatory. Okay, let's pass to the next one. Imagine this. You step into an elevator and there is a stranger, and in most countries you would just stand there in awkward silence, but in Italy you have to say buongiorno or salve. It's this unspoken rule. If you enter a space, you have to acknowledge people inside, otherwise it's a bit rude. For me personally, I'm used to saying hi in the elevator of my building to my neighbors, but when it comes to public elevators, my inner introvert kinda was not ready for that. But now, after living 6 years here, I really got used to it and I find it very nice actually. And I know I promised to not talk about any cliches, but there is just one food rule that I cannot seem to get used to even after living in Italy for 6 years. Italy has so many food rules, and honestly I think most of them make total sense, and I've incorporated them in my own daily routines. Like I'm not putting any more parmigiano in the seafood pasta. This is a no, and I completely understand it. But there is just one thing that I cannot get over, and please, someone explain me why chicken cannot go with pasta or pizza. Seriously, once my husband brought a chicken pasta to his work for lunch and his Italian colleagues looked at him like if it was a crime. Like really, what is wrong in this combination? Chicken and pasta. What is the problem here? Because for me it's just such a classic combo and it's nice. Please, if you have a logical explanation, just write a comment down below. And one of my biggest culture shocks when I moved to Italy was how dog-friendly this country is. Dogs literally can go anywhere in Italy. In the restaurants, shops, bars, on the trains, boats, any public transportation, even in some supermarkets, and even some cashiers would give them treats while attending you with your groceries. Like, it's a whole culture, it's amazing. Italians truly love dogs. And if you have a dog, you will have instant conversations. Being a foreigner, that's a really good way to practice your Italian, because for sure you will be stopped on the street and Italians will probably first talk to your dog before acknowledging you, but then it will spark a conversation. I think this is my favorite culture shock in Italy. So which one of these shocked you most, or which one I missed maybe? Please share, and I hope you enjoyed this video and see you in the next one. Ciao!